But, now that he's gone, I think what we should really be doing is talking about Lance the Man, because that was someone who was special. And he brought a smile to people's faces in the locker room. He, he had a family that he loved very much. I know he had been with the girl that he was currently with when he passed away. He'd been with her, if I'm not mistaken, since he was 19.
Wow.
They met in San Antonio. So I mean, he's a passionate guy. I know he loves her very much. I hope I'm not making mistakes. I'm pretty sure it's the same girl, unless he married someone else better. Right. So I haven't caught up with him. I didn't get a chance to catch up with him on that aspect of his life. But but as a man, no one disliked him. He wasn't the type of kid that you're like, oh, he's a dick. He's the type of guy that he's arrogant. Right. He thinks his shit doesn't stink. It wasn't like that with him. He was a type of guy you respected and you liked. He was just that type of guy.
What's the one thing that you'll miss most about Lance?
I would just miss him just being able to talk to him and just being able to, like I said, I was at that show in Bridgeport for that reunion, and it was the first time as soon as I see him, we gave each other a big hug, and we went out into the crowd and started talking, where the crowd sits, and started talking, and it was like he never missed a beat, and it was just because, he's just a down to earth guy, and you just being able to have conversations with him, and we told old stories about times down in Memphis and all that, and had a bunch of laughs, and it was just, I would just miss him as a man, just his personality, I guess.
Thank you very much, Pete.
Now Andrew has a couple questions, so Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, Pete. Outside of wrestling, what do you feel was Lance Cade's true passion in life?
His family. I know that he thought very highly of his family. I know that he had a stepson that was a real little guy, and I know his wife at the time was living in San Antonio still. So I know his life was difficult as far as maintaining a relationship, and as any wrestler has as far as being away from their family for so long. But I know that his family meant a lot to him, and it's sad. He's leaving a lot behind, and I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what happened, but it's just if it's foul play, I don't know. I don't know if it was something that he took or what, or they said it had heart failure. Well, something triggered that, and I don't want to piss on anyone's grave. I just hope anyone that listens to this, or any of the boys that listen to it, that if they do have a problem and it turns out that this is what happens with Lance, just wakes up, just realize that we're not Supermen. That we are human, and we like to think we are because we can handle a lot of pain and punishment to our bodies, but eventually, that stuff catches up to you. So I just think to answer your question, I start ranting on these things because it really hits home, because now since I was in Memphis, a bunch of buddies that I'm on Facebook with, we had conversations, and I've had conversations on the phone. This is the fourth guy that we've lost in the last 10 years, and it never gets any easier. We were talking about doing a 10-year reunion this summer, which never went through. I hope we're going to, Charlie Haas, hopefully we'll get this thing organized and we'll get everyone together. But we're hoping that everyone that was there kind of makes it, everyone survives, because it gets frustrating. Like there's certain guys you talk to, and you only talk to them when one of your brothers has fallen, and it's sad. I don't know why this shit happens, but it's just frustrating.
Yeah, hopefully you won't lose any more before you all get a chance to get together. Now, we all know Lance Cade was more than just a wrestler. Is there a favorite personal story about Lance that you're able to share with our listeners?
It was just one that I was to me, I guess it may have had to be one of those things where he had to be there, but to me, it just showed who Lance was. Lance was so, at the time, he was 19 years old. He was very naive, but he was a great kid, and I knew that he'd be able to handle it. And I always knew that he was going to make it in this business because he just had, like I said, he had this passion. But as far as that story goes, I just think that that was just one that I thought was fun. I mean, he was the type of kid like him, Brian Kendrick, who, and what's his name? God darn. Daniels. These guys would never, like, Joey Ash and I would travel to a show in Arkansas or whatever, and we would always have a cooler of beer, and we'd always, after a match, go out to the truck and have a couple beers, and we'd always invite these guys, and these guys would never touch the beer. They were so dedicated to what they were doing. They were ready to go home and hang out and get a pizza and watch old matches of Shawn Michaels or whoever. And that's what these guys did. And, they were so innocent at that time, and then I saw how Lance was 10 years later, and not 10 years later, 7, 8 years later, and I was like, he's grown up. But he grew up in a good way. Like he was, sure he learned to go out and have a few drinks and do whatever else he used to do, but he always cared about his family, stuff like that, and I'm just ranting, so you guys got to come up with another question.
No problem. My final question is, what do you feel that Lance's legacy is?
Lance's legacy, I think it just keeps going back to, I think the fact that he was, to date, probably Shawn Michaels' most infamous student, I guess. I guess that, like something like that, he kind of stands out because I think he has done the most as far as that first class has gone, and I just think that I think he never hit his true potential, but I think he did do a lot. He did a hell of a lot more than I ever did, and I think that he's he did a lot more than a lot of guys have done over the years. And I just think that he was a special guy, and I guess he had a bunch of straps over the years, and probably that's a lot more than I ever did. But I just think that his legacy, to go back, his legacy is just of a guy that cared, and a guy that was dedicated to this industry, would do anything. I know he was going overseas. He was doing a lot of things like that. He didn't want to leave the business, and we lost a great human being. We lost a great wrestler, but we lost a great human being.
Now, I wanted to thank you for joining us for this tribute. Is there any last thing you'd like to say about or to Lance that you never got to say?
Yeah, I'm going to try to say this without choking up, because if I had to say anything to the fans, anyone like that who never got to meet Lance Cade, you missed out, because this kid was a great kid, and he's a hell of a person with a big heart, and I'm going to miss you, Lance, and I hope you're in a better place. And that's it.
Thank you very much for taking time out to do this.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks a lot, Pete.
All right, and we're back here on the Lance Cade Tribute Show. We actually have a caller from the 650. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead and share your memories. First of all, say your name, where you're from, and then share your memories of Lance Cade.
Hey, guys, this is Kid Zombie from Northern California.
Hey,
Thanks
how
for
are you doing?
taking my call. I followed Lance from the beginning. When he first broke in with the TWA, his first tours of FMW with Bryan Danielson, all the way through, Memphis TV, developmental, all the way up. It's a shame. He never hit the potential that he was, that he had. He had God-given ability, God-given look. Dude, he was a prototypical pro wrestler. He wasn't overly built, but he had good size, good height, Good psychology, picked up the business quick. It's just a shame that, they lost another one. But, I mean, it's really messed up that they're getting younger. And I mean, dude, I'm 37, and, makes you look at your own mortality. Some of us, have screwed around at the younger age, and, a lot of us have grown up. But, Lance is never going to, see his grandchildren. That's what's sad, But, I just wanted to share a couple, quick memories like that, and let you guys know. I don't know if you guys checked it out, JT or not, that I had Rudy Boy Gonzalez on my show Wednesday night, and Rudy sat down for 90 minutes with us, and we talked about Lance, plus the other guys breaking in. Do you mind if I plug that?
Go ahead.
Cool. blogtalkradio.com/Rubber Radio. It's episode 130. It was a pretty intense show. We opened up, and and I really didn't want to, make it about Lance. It was about, celebrating, the things that Rudy Boy has done for the business. But, later on in the show, it got pretty heavy, and I'd also like to publicly thank Rudy Boy for coming on the air and, and sharing his feelings. And
what did
the whole.
I'm sorry. I just want to interrupt before you close that up. I was just going to ask you really
Sure.
quick. What was some of the things that Rudy Boy was saying about Lance?
Just that he was, such a humble kid. He would sit there and shut up and listen and respected the veterans in the business. But that should be about it, guys.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you very much for sharing and calling in for sure.
I know we have the Les Thatcher interview as well that we did a pre-record on. I believe that one is about 13 minutes.
Okay.
I guess I can just jump right in and play that for you.
No problem. Let's go ahead and we'll get to the Les Thatcher interview, and then we'll be back for the remainder of the show. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. Take it easy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the Lance Cade Tribute Show, and on the line with us we have Les Thatcher. Les, how are you doing?
I'm doing real good today. How about yourself?
Wish we could be speaking on different terms, but, we're here to celebrate the life that was Lance Cade, and we've got a few questions for you, so if you don't mind, let's go ahead and get started.
Absolutely. Lance was a great guy, and I'd be happy to answer anything you'd like.
I got to ask you, being that you were around Lance for a while, what is one thing you think Lance will want his fans to remember him for?
Wow. Really, I think his work ethic. When the year he spent with me here, he was very dedicated, very serious about training, about getting better, and I think that stood out. He was a real, what do I say, even guy on an even keel. He had a temper, but Lance was pretty much just would roll with the flow of everything. So I think probably that would be the way he'd like to be remembered.
Now, you just brought up that he was there for a year. What is one story or maybe even a couple stories that really stick out to you about him or times you shared together?
Well, the funny thing was, I teach all of the guys that start with me all learn to call a match in the ring. And when Lance first came in, he had the same look, hair, and so forth as one of the kids that had started with me. So I put them together as a team. One of the reasons they didn't gel was because Lance was fearful of calling a match in the ring, and the kid that started with me, that was the way he usually lay the finish out match. So anyway, this was just something that so I separated them, and anyway, Lance worked out better as a heel and did really well with Steve Bradley and Mike Sanders and that bunch of guys. So anyway, fast forward to finishing up his run here, and we were doing our last TV at OVW Studios, and Lance was my heavyweight champion at the time, and we're switching the belt over. And so anyway, they had a very good match. They came to the back, and as Lance came through, Jimmy Cornette and Danny Davis and I were in the office, and Lance came through. We told him what a great match it was, and we thought it was really good, and appreciated him doing the job on his way out. And he turned to me and he said, "And we called it all in the ring." And he was just so proud of that because he had progressed, and that is the art of the work, honestly.